that. Well, 18-year-old Isaiah Schoels was to have graduated from Columbine next month. Instead, he was killed Tuesday, shot in the face while crouched under a table in the school library. Michael Schoels is Isaiah's father. Mr. Schoels, thank you so much for being here. We are so terribly sorry about your son.
Okay.
I understand from everyone at the school that Isaiah was extremely well loved by the students, a very popular young man. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Well, Isaiah was very outgoing. He was he had a lot, he had a lot to live for, you know what I'm saying? And I really do feel that he was taken out a little bit too early. I mean, behind this situation is getting bad. It's getting bad.
Eyewitnesses say your son was singled out because
yes, he was.
He was an African American.
Yes, that's what happened. I mean, that's not a way to go. It's bad you have to go in a situation like that.
What have people told you, Mr. Schoels, about what happened to Isaiah?
Some of his friends saying that he was supposed to be going to lunch, and he decided to go to the library instead, because he had a paper to do. And they said when they came in, they was actually hunting him. They was looking for him especially, and that's wrong.
You think he had 2 strikes against him?
That was most definitely it. I mean, it's no ifs, ands, buts about it. That's what happened.
Because he was not only black,
yes,
but he was an athlete.
Yes.
What sport did he play?
Well, he was a weightlifter. He played football, but he's a weightlifter. And, he just, he was liked by too many people. You understand what I'm saying? That was his demise. People loved him. He was outgoing. He was a special kid. He was very special. He had a problem at birth and he beat it. He won. He had it won. And to be taken out short like this it's not right.
What was his problem, Mr. Schoels?
Well, he had a heart problem when he was born. But, he lived 18 years with that and he survived it. He beat it to be taken out like this.
He had talked to you a little bit about these boys who are part of this group,
yes,
this
did.
trench coat mafia. What had he told you?
Well, he always used to tell me that it was this certain group always target him and his sisters. And, by us being, we knew in this neighborhood, I thought there was just, they was just being, feeling inferior. But that wasn't the situation. It was true. And, I hate, the reason I'm doing this is because I should have listened to my son and my children. I should have listened to them.
What do you think you should have done, Mr. Schoels?
I should have went to the authorities when this stuff was going on, because they had told me time and time, but I felt as though they were strong enough to overcome it, because I trained my children to live with every and anyone. I mean, it's no reason why anyone should be targeted out behind what their achievements were or what their skin color was.
How was he targeted? Was he harassed, or did they say, we're going to get you? What sort of things did he tell you?
He always used to tell me that they would target him out, and they would pick at him, and and I would say, well, son, you just have to overcome that. You would have to overcome that, but if you need me, just come to me. If it gets that bad to where you can't handle it, come to me. And he never made it. He came to a demise before it came to this point.
Mr. Schoels, if you can just stay with me for a moment, I'm going to bring in Craig Scott. He was one of the last people to see your son alive. Craig, how are you doing this morning?
It's hard.
You were in the library with Isaiah and another good friend. I know this is so difficult, but can you tell me a little bit about what happened?
I went into the library to go do some homework, and before I could even take out my stuff, my books from my backpack. I had sat with a friend of mine, Matt Hector. I knew him from class, and I talked to him on the phone on the night before, and we heard what sounded like fireworks, and I thought it was a prank, a senior prank, and I was joking around about it and treated it like it was some kind of prank, until a faculty member ran in and was screaming that someone had a gun and was shooting other students out there.
You ducked under the desk, Craig.
Yeah, she told us to duck under the desk, and I just still didn't think it was real. I thought the teacher was in on it or something. That just didn't seem real. And
you pulled Isaiah under. You said, "Come on, get down."
Yeah, I saw Isaiah, and Isaiah, I really liked Isaiah. The first time I met him, he always made me laugh. Everybody that knew Isaiah, he was really he'd always tell stories, and he was just a fun kid to be around. And I wish I could give him a hug today so bad. I saw him. I said, "Hey, Isaiah," and he came under the table and he said, "What's up?" And he sat between me and Matt. And that's when two tall kids with trench coats on, they came into the library, and they were shooting off their guns at people, and they came in and they were harassing students before they shot him.
They were saying racial slurs to Isaiah.
Yeah, they said, get any effing jock. They said, get anybody with a white hat on, because that's a lot of jocks wear white hats, and they...
Baseball caps.
Right, I was wearing a white hat, and I threw it under my shirt. And Isaiah did kind of look, he was a buff little kid, and he looked like a jock. He was well built. And they walked by and they saw Isaiah, and one of them said to the other one, they said there's a N-word over here. And the other kid came over and saw him, and Isaiah tried to back up. Isaiah didn't say anything, and they shot Isaiah. And then they shot my friend Matt also.
And then you played dead, Craig.
Yeah, I just ended up laying on the floor. I was praying to God to give me courage and to keep protection over us, and he told me to get out of there. God told me to get out of there. And I got up, and everybody was in shock. And I told everybody, I go, let's get out of here. Let's run out of here. And they all got up, and some girl asked me to help her. Her arm was, she had a chunk of her shoulder was blown off by a shotgun. And some kind of rifle, some bigger weapon, and I helped her get out. She was bleeding all over the place, and her bone was showing, and I helped her get out. And the kids were so nervous, they ran into a room, and the exit was right in front of us. They were so shocked, they just all ran into a room, and then they realized to run out the exit. And that's when we ran out to through the exit and to the cops.
Craig, hold on a second. We're just going to tell our local stations we're not going to take a break, so we hope they'll stay with us. Then what happened?
Everybody was really shocked. I was talking to the cop, telling them what the suspects looked like and where they were at in the school. And after I told the cops that, I led some people in prayer, and I asked them if they had any brothers or sisters in the school, and they said yeah, and I said, I'm gonna pray for your brother or sister. We helped people get in the cop cars and the ambulances, and me and 3 other people were the last ones to leave with the cop. And all these people that I was praying for, 30 minutes later, their brothers and sisters were their brothers and sisters were showing up.
But not your sister.
I said, see, I told you prayer worked. I told you your sister was gonna come out of this. I said, and they thanked me, and they kept praying for my sister, and I kept praying for my sister and other people in that school. And something told me that something wasn't right with Rachel before we heard anything about her. I knew something wasn't right.
And when did you find out about your sister?
I found out the next morning. It was confirmed that she was dead. I kind of accepted it beforehand that she was. My sister was a real person. She was real to people, and she had no enemies at the school. She was
17.
She was 17, and she had just done a school play. It was a student-run play, and she was in forensics team, and she was into photography, and she had a job also. She really had a lot of ambition, and I loved her a lot.
How are your parents doing, Craig?
They're grieving over, and but we're gonna get through this, and it's a life-changing experience for me, and I really put trust God's hands over this, and I believe he's gonna be there for us.
Some of your sister's friends I know have turned her car into a memorial, bringing flowers and teddy bears, and like Isaiah, she was extremely well liked, wasn't she?
Yeah, she like I said, she didn't have any enemies. She was set apart from her school in a way. I thought she was more grown up. Everybody liked her. I never heard anybody say anything bad about her or Isaiah.
What do you know about these kids, these 2 boys who committed these incredibly brutal acts? And were they laughing as they were killing? And
yeah, they were. There was something in them. They were kind of gothic, and wore black to school every day, and just tried to be as different and as different from the rest of the kids as they could. They were really full of hate. They had something in them that wasn't right.
Mr. Schoels, for you, the last 24 hours plus, I know, have been unbearable. for you and your family?
It's been really agonizing.
Waiting to
see,
know.
yeah, waiting to see what was going on, you know. And I'm in a situation now, man. I'm really hurting inside because, you know, I want to be in denial, but I know he wouldn't want this. He wouldn't want me to be this. He wants me to tell him what happened, you know what I'm saying? He wants me to speak out because I know his heart. My son, he was a very, very outgoing person, and, you know, he had no enemies. If you hated my son, you had a problem because he had no enemies, you know what I'm saying? He could get along with anyone because I train all of my children that way. All of my children. We are a very tight-knitted family, you know. I love my children more than life itself, and I hope the parents out there can feel where I'm coming from. Because, you know, our kids is our future. That's all we have. And for, you know, we need to watch and take care of that. You know, we need to watch and take care of our children. For those parents that's not watching their children, that's not spending time with the family, that is our demise. You understand what I'm saying? That's our demise. And we, us as a human, need to stop it. We need to stop it. You know, man.
How is your wife doing? And you have 2 other children?
Yes, they're very distraught. They wasn't able to be here, and I didn't want them to be here the way things is going right now.
You have 2 other daughters, is that right?
A son and a daughter.
And they're both students at Columbine?
Yes, they both got away. They both got away. You know, they always hunted. You know, they was looking for them, but they couldn't find them, you know.
Are you all going to get counseling, both of you?
Well, I'm a Christian man, so I'm gonna get through this.
All right. Michael
Because
Schoels.
everything happens for a reason. Okay.
Well, I hope your faith sustains you. Michael Schoels, Craig Scott. I don't know how to thank you all for coming to share these terrible feelings with us. I know how difficult it was. Thank you both so much. Godspeed. We'll be right back.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
7:30 now on this Thursday morning, the 22nd day of April, 1999. Some of the memorial service held last night in Colorado for the victims of that tragic school shooting in Littleton, Colorado. And I'm Matt Lauer back in New York. Katie Couric is in Colorado this morning. Katie, I don't think I've ever seen a more compelling and emotional interview than the one you just conducted between Mr. Schoels and Craig Scott.
It was unbelievable, Matt, and I think these 2 men, this father and this young man, really sum up the agony of this entire community. A father who has lost his son in such a senseless tragedy, and a young man who had to face things that really people only face in combat situations. But I was so moved as I saw Mr. Schoels reach over for Craig Scott's hand, and it was somehow affirming that together with the help of the community, that somehow these people some way will heal.
And of course, hearing the description Craig Scott gave of Mr. Schoels' son and also of his sister, attaching real personality and adding a human element to this tragedy.
Yeah, it was really, really quite moving, and I'm so grateful for both of them, as I said, to come on television and to talk about such intimate, heartbreaking, and highly personal, I mean, obviously, feelings requires a great deal of courage. But I think Mr. Schoels, as he said, he wants people to know and to learn from this. And I think Craig Scott wanted to honor both Isaiah and his sister Rachel and tell the world what fine individuals were lost among, the 15 victims.
I think he certainly accomplished that, Katie. We're going to have much more on the tragedy in Littleton, Colorado, but first at 7:32 we want to head to the news desk and say good morning to Ann Curry. Ann?
And good morning to you, Matt. More now on the investigation into the deadly rampage in Littleton, Colorado. Last night, officials removed the bodies of the 13 victims and their assailants from the school. Their removal had been delayed because of possible booby traps and time bombs left behind by the killers. Because of the number of weapons and explosive devices used, police wonder if more than the 2 assailants were involved. Among those killed was teacher David Sanders, who died trying to save his students. Among his last words as he looked at photos of his daughters, "Tell my girls I love them." Grieving parents and students gathered at several memorial services in Denver last night to remember the dead and wounded. Some students said it was the first time they were able to cry over the loss of their friends. Because of the school tragedy, the National Rifle Association's 3-day meeting in Denver next week has been scaled back to 1 day. NRA President Charlton Heston said it was their way of showing respect for the families of the Littleton victims.